What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Nord and Block podcast. It is episode number 34. It is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. It has been nearly a month since our last episode, so I feel like we should go into that first. I am Nordic, joined here with LeBlanc. LeBlanc, how are we doing?
A lot better than I was, I'll tell you that.
So, you want to tell everybody why we have been a little bit MIA recently? We have been active on the Instagram, we have been active in other places, but as for the actual episodes itself, we have not been making them. You want to kind of explain why?
On December 27th, I got very, very sick. Went to the hospital, went to multiple doctors, was put on multiple antibiotics. Turns out I had a very big respiratory infection that has been kept me out of business for the last almost 3 weeks now.
Yeah, so we weren't able to record because of that. Probably a little bit of it is on me because I should have made an episode maybe updating and that. But again, does sync. LeBlanc, how are you feeling now?
Better. I'm still, my voice is still a little raspy, as you can hear. But I'm not coughing as much anymore, which is great, so...
Yeah, things will get better as it develops, but it has been a rough month for the man himself here, LeBlanc. But let's get into all of the stuff. We're not really going to go into a lot of the things that we missed, like the United States won gold of the World Juniors. Congratulations. The Canada, thing that happened. Derek Lalonde got fired. All that good stuff. We're not going to get into that because it's been too long past. We'll save that maybe for a rainy day. We're just going to hop into, I think we should probably just go into news around the NHL right now and talk about things that have happened. I think we need to start off with the suspensions that have happened this past week. So we're going to start off with the Tsyplakov one, if that's okay. Tsyplakov was suspended for 3 games for an illegal check to the head on Flyers forward Ryan Poehling. This is a little bit of a controversial one. LeBlanc, what did you initially think when you saw this play?
So there's multiple arguments online about how, it might be clean, it might be dirty. I thought, clearly you could see if it gets pronounced Tsyplakov, by the way. Could the T is silent?
Tsyplakov, yeah.
I feel like he didn't leave his feet. He didn't, but you could see the initial point of contact is the head. You can see from multiple angles it is the head. There's one angle that looks like it's not to the head, but I think you got to, in this league, and I think it's very, the head is always going to be a big no-no. And
yeah.
We've seen this in multiple, we'll see it as we go along the multiple suspensions we have in this video, that's a big no-no because the NHL is trying to crack down more on it as we go along, the concussions and the CTE and all of that good jazz. I thought, honestly, I would have given it a game or 2. I thought 3 games was a little harsh considering the it didn't seem like it was on purpose. It didn't seem it was egregious.
No, I think he was trying to hit the shoulder. Again, I don't think it was really intentional. But again, as you said, the head is a big no-no. And obviously, again, the NHL is trying to crack down on things like this. And this is the first instance of us seeing them do that. So, yeah, I get from a perspective the fact that it's 3, the fact that it may be a little bit too much being 3 games, but at the same time, I think even though some people said that it may have hit the shoulder initially, but there was head contact, even if it wasn't the initial point. So, yeah, Tsyplakov suspended 3 games. The other suspensions that happened today, 2 of them, Connor McDavid was suspended for 3 games for a cross-check on Connor Garland. I want to go through the other one first, though. Tyler Myers was also suspended for 3 games for cross-checking Oilers defenseman Evan Bouchard. Yeah, the Myers one was really no debate, in my opinion. I look at that one, and there's no debate. It's literally after the play. Bouchard just skates up to Myers, probably to give him a little light push, not a cross-check to the head. But Myers is just nope, and cross-checks him to the head. So there's no debate there from me. I don't really know if you have any debate, but I thought that was fine.
I thought, yeah, I just saw it today actually, before we got on here, and here's the thing. I don't mind players giving each other the business, but you can't just cross check the dude in the face. especially
No.
after the game. The game was over too. Game was over.
Oh, that was after the game?
Pretty sure
Oh,
that's after the game. No, it wasn't. No, it was second period. That's my bad. The McDavid one was after the game.
yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna say I thought that was like midway through the game,
yeah,
but yeah, again, like
and
you can't do that.
we tried to just go skate up to him, maybe to give him the business, but like then just like boom, like
He
it's.
didn't even do anything to
I
him.
know he didn't even do. I don't know. We don't know what was said. Maybe something was said to provoke him, but like still, let's do it again. Head and face area, big no, big no.
Yeah. To be honest, the other one was what really frustrated me. Again, McDavid suspended 3 games for the same reason, cross-checking, and I feel like the context of this play feels more important. You watch it, like McDavid is being held down by Garland with his skates by Garland like himself, and then McDavid eventually is like, all right, screw this, and gets up and cross-checks him in the face. Now, I want to say that it's not deserving. I'm not saying that McDavid should not have been suspended. I'm also not saying that Garland should have been suspended. But I feel like, again, I feel like there should have been an interference call there against Garland, at least on that play. Again, I said in my TikTok that I feel like the context is important, but in the reality of things that I see it now, it is still a cross check, and it is still a big no. So they're both cross check. Luck, how do you feel about the second one?
I feel like first of all, McDavid's being held down for like 30 seconds when they're trying to tie the game. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think if let's say for example, Travis Konecny is being held down for 30 seconds while they're trying to tie the game. I think you would probably get up in arms about that too.
Yeah, I would, and
Yeah.
and again, I would be like, all right, yeah, Konechny definitely has a right to do that. Again, I'm not saying that just because Garland held him down and this and that is saying that, oh yeah, McDavid was right to cross check him.
Yeah, I know. Like it's still no from still that's not the right reaction from McDavid. And I'll be honest, I talked to my brother. My brother's a Kings fan, and he's a big he doesn't like the Oilers. Anyway, so
That should
he
be for obvious
me,
reasons.
me and him were talking about it back and forth, saying how he thought McDavid was not going to get suspended at all because McDavid's the NHL's golden boy. Why would they suspend the golden boy?
Yeah,
And he had a pretty convincing argument too. Um, but yeah, I'm honestly from the NHL standpoint, I'm kind of surprised he got 3 games considering his stature in the league. And that's just coming from in the past we see McDavid do some dirty things and either only get fined or just get nothing at all.
maybe this is the NHLPA finally realizing that
No,
no
everyone,
matter
yeah,
no matter how good you are, you're going to get held accountable.
everyone should be held to the same standard.
That is true. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. But I am going to say this. I feel like with the way that play transpired, I feel like Garland kind of had it coming.
Yeah, Garland had it coming, but also I feel like Garland. Should have had a penalty called on. I think the officials I don't understand why players get held down and the officials just that's fine.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree because again, there's no way you can hold somebody down for that long a period of time and it not be interference or not even be holding. It's just ridiculous to me. Let's move on from that though, from the Oilers suspension to an Oilers signing. John Klingberg was locked up this past week by the Oilers as well, was signed to a 1-year, $1 million contract with $350K in possible performance bonuses. I don't have the info about the performance bonuses, but LeBlanc, what were your thoughts on this signing?
It's weird. I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised he went to the Oilers. I really thought he was gonna go back to Toronto because Toronto, it's a familiar face. It's a familiar area for him. But here's the funny thing: he went to the Oilers to be put back on IR.
Yeah. I do think though, I am gonna say this. I think that he probably still is going to come. He's just. Let me restart.
He's not ready to come back. I feel
He's not ready. So again, got to give him some time out there on the ice. Got to give him some time to skate and play and do all that. And the reason why he got paid $1 million was mainly because of just the fact that a lot of teams were in on him, like we saw the Oilers were in on him, the Senators were apparently in on him, the Leafs were in on him. So again, like the defensive market is very dry right now, and when you see somebody like that say, "Yeah, I'm ready to come back to the NHL," there were a couple of teams who jumped on him, and this is a guy who's like a former 70-point scorer. He did that a while ago, but he still is a former 70-point scorer. He could sit up on your blue line and give you a good 30 points a year. You really can't judge him off of last season when he had a really bad hip injury for the majority of his time with the Maple Leafs. Again, he only played 2. But I think that he fits in well as a role with a 6th or 7th defender with the Oilers, in my opinion. If that's even worried.
Yeah, and I feel like I talked about this on I've also talked this with my Sens friends, how we, like, for me personally, I thought John Klingberg coming to Ottawa was a big red flag. Like, no, he's a good player to be on your third pairing, but I don't want him up in the lineup. And he's gonna be that third pairing, like, scoring defense, but he's not gonna provide you with very good defense.
The thing is, though, it's like a low risk, high reward type thing because
it is.
If he works out, then the GM, that this being Stan Bowman, annoyingly, looks like a genius. But if it doesn't work out, you can just get rid of the contract relatively easily.
Yeah.
Waivers, buy him out. You can very easily get rid of that contract if it doesn't work out. So again, I don't fault the Oilers for at least trying to do this, to be honest with you. Tristan Jarry this past week was placed on waivers by the Pittsburgh Penguins. There was also a report that the Penguins have reached a breaking point with the goaltender. This is another move that makes Kyle Dubas look absolutely terrible. Yeah, it is. It's a horrible look for Pittsburgh.
Oh, excuse me. You look at I'll be honest, almost every signing that Kyle Dubas has made in Pittsburgh has blown up in his face.
It has. Again, you look at Jarry one's flopped. The Karlsson deal looks not good. Kevin Hayes has flopped.
Grizzly.
Yeah.
Graves may be the only one that actually looks decent, but this term is still long.
Yeah. So again, Dubas has had a really rough go of things. As the GM has not had a good tenure there. I also want to say, I'm trying to find the stat. There was a stat from Jay Fresh that he posted this past week. It was about the amount of goals that Tristan Jarry has let in on the first 5 shots of the game.
Yeah, when Ottawa played them, they mentioned it was his 9th or 10th first shot of the game goal.
Okay, so Jarry has played 22 games this season. He has allowed a goal on the first shot 6 times, on the second shot 4 times, on the third shot twice, on the fourth shot 4 times, and on the 5th shot 3 times. that is just not good enough.
It's not good enough. You know who that reminds me of?
Who's that?
Jonas Corposalo last year.
Yeah. Again, if he does come back, it won't be with Pittsburgh. I think they've reached the breaking point with him. They might even buy him out. He may just become a third string goalie at this point for the Penguins. I also want to say there was a report today from a reliable Pittsburgh Penguins source. It was per Marco D'Amico. Probably saying that. D'Amico,
yeah.
Yeah, probably saying it right. A source close to the Penguins has informed him that Kyle Dubas is looking for a fire sale. Big name veterans, not just simply pending free agents, are up on the trade block, and the Penguins are also willing to retain to move out Erik Karlsson. So, LeBlanc, hearing that, what are your opinions?
I don't want him in Ottawa. That's the only thing I want to make very clear. A lot of Sens fans have a very emotional attachment to Erik Karlsson. I am one of the people, but I'm also I want to see Erik Karlsson in a Sens jersey the day he retires. That's it. I don't want to see him on the ice for the Ottawa Senators ever again. Erik Karlsson has had a very, very rough year, despite what he himself might say.
Yeah.
I feel like there will be interest in him. It's Erik Karlsson, of course, going to be interested in him. But it may not be as much as when San Jose tried to ship him out.
Yeah, and I think that like realistically there will be interest again, but I'm not too enticed with bringing him on. If I'm like, there will be some select teams who may be interested in it, but I don't really know if you can really move him this season because how many years does he have left on that contract? Still like 4 more years.
Carlson, it's like 3 or 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, I'll get it here in a second. Carlson is, yeah, he has, Jesus Christ, 3 more years on that deal. So yeah, no, it's going to be hard for you to move him. You would have to retain like 50%, like not even you can even really retain 50%. You would have to retain, I don't know, like again, like it's just not.
It's been a nightmare. It's been a nightmare acquisition. It's been like, remember when he got acquired and we all said the Pittsburgh power was going to be insane, and then it never gelled.
Yeah, I mean, last year they did have that one old Caps coach. I forget his name. It's blanking in my
Todd
head.
Ritterin.
Yeah, Reardon. Yeah, that didn't work out well. And the guy who's come in even now, it's a little bit better, but it's still not ideal. That trade still looks like terrible to this day for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and at the time it was considered a steal for Pittsburgh.
Like even then, like I wasn't because Carlson was coming off of that Norris winning season,
And
like
then Pittsburgh only traded guys away who like were not good for them. Who were on like these are guys who like you just need to get out of the room. Like Jan Ruda, Mikael Granlund was not a fit in Pittsburgh, and who else did they give up? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, they traded. I have the trade pulled up here. They traded away. It was a three-way deal. Montreal got involved. They traded away a 2024 first, which became Consta Hellenius. Again, San Jose traded that pick up to get Sam Dickinson.
Yeah.
The Sharks also got Mikael Granlund, who looks like a really good center right now. Might get traded to deadline for maybe even a first as well. Maybe not first, maybe like a second. But again, like he looks really good. Jan Rutta is a defenseman. I mean, like I can't really speak for how he's doing there in San Jose, but I also think too, that was a guy you may miss. And then Mike Hoffman not in the NHL anymore. To Montreal, they gave up Casey DeSmith, who was a very good backup goalie for them for a long time. They gave up Jeff Petrie as well. I don't think they minded giving up Petrie, but they also gave up a second-round pick, which has not been used yet. There's still pieces of this trade that are yet to be used, but again, it just looks terrible for Pittsburgh, like now. Even then, it may have looked like a steal, but I feel like now it looks terrible.
I'll ask you a question right here.
Okay.
Kyle Dubas, is he gone by the end of the year?
It'll have to depend what happens.
Because if they're going to fire sale, I feel like if they're like willing to let Dubas fire sale, I feel like they would keep him.
That's the other thing. It's weird though because Pittsburgh is still like technically in that race. Like they're still technically in that wild
Yeah,
card
but
race.
they have like one of the most games played, and they're like 6 points out now.
Yeah, they're still in it though. Like that's the thing. Like they will always they always find a way. They'll go on a hot streak and then end up like a point out and select 15th overall.
Pittsburgh's destined to be like, I don't want to say mid, but like they'll be like they're no man's land basically. They're not good enough to contend, and they're not bad enough to get a first overall pick.
Unless if they really do have a fire sale and they tank next year and get Gavin McKenna, like
I'll be honest, I'd be livid. Like, can Pittsburgh stop getting generational talents?
I don't even want to put that thought out there, to be honest with you.
Don't put that evil on me. Don't put that.
All right. Was there any? Oh, the JT Miller stuff was the other thing that we had to talk about. Yeah. So apparently, this past weekend there were talks of JT Miller, like almost, like damn near getting traded. And there was a lot of talks with the Rangers of being the team that he may have moved on to. There were even talks of like people saying to Friedman and other people saying that I don't think Miller's going to play tonight. Like this deal got really close. I don't know necessarily what was like the thing that broke it and what like didn't make it happen, but at the same time, like can't be a great look. And then the media is just like idiots. Like they ask him like all the. Did you see the clip from Chicklets where they posted the interview? Like it's just the stupidest shit ever. The media in Vancouver is so annoying.
Yeah,
But going back to the trade, yeah. What do you got?
yeah, media in Vancouver is absolutely like it's ridiculous. Like I've been to Vancouver and I've been around the media in Vancouver. They are like you think Toronto media is hard on. I mean, the national Toronto media is hard on Toronto. The Vancouver local media would eat them for breakfast. That's how critical they are of any Canucks player, any Canucks, anything the Canucks involved in Canucks. Like just put it in the paper shredder.
Yeah. But going back to like the actual trade, there was a talk today that was released by Bleacher Report saying that apparently Philip Hedl and Ryan Lindgren were involved in the deal. How do you feel about that?
First of all, I feel like the Rangers. JT Miller doesn't fix the Rangers. I'm sorry.
No, he doesn't.
But if they're getting Hedl and Lindgren, honestly, the Canucks might win that deal. Considering
Really?
the qual, well, here's the thing: they were probably also getting a first round pick in return. And what I saw somewhere is that they couldn't agree on protection for that first round pick.
I don't particularly know if I agree with that. Hedl can be good when he's healthy, but he has been really injury prone these last couple of seasons.
Lindgren needs to change the scenery.
Lindgren does need to change of scenery, yes. I think even with a first round pick thrown in, if it's Hedl, Lindgren, and a first, I think I'm taking the Rangers with that. Like even if it doesn't solve the Rangers' problems, you're still getting a really good former 100-point scorer. So again, like I think that the Rangers win that deal anyhow. Again, even though the Canucks maybe get what they want. Still, I think the Rangers win that trade. One of the other things that I heard though was Miller to the Devils. Sure about that? Like that was
I did not hear about that at all.
They've been talking about it because of Simone Nemec and what he said in a check interview about how he's upset with the situation.
Yes, but I'll be honest. If they were going to trade Nemec would have to force his way out. Nemec would tell the Devils, "I don't want to be here anymore." Like,
yeah, that's probably what it would be. But again, I think that rumor's there as well. But the main thing we've heard is the Rangers rumor. Is that really like a return that you would say like, yeah, the Canucks win that trade? Like I feel like
if they get a first round pick in return, and I'll be honest, the Rangers' first round pick that might be a high pick.
Hang on,
like their pick right now, I think is like number 9 or number 8. Or 12. I'm not sure.
Let's go to the trusty Tankathon. That always helps me. The Rangers pick would be 13th overall.
13th? Okay, so they've honestly played better since I last checked the Tankathon, but still, like, getting 13th overall, that's still a relatively high pick.
Yeah, the Rangers are 6-1-3 in their last 10, so they are really starting to pick it up down the stretch. I still don't know if I would give that to Vancouver because even though if they are getting a first round pick, I feel like this draft kind of falls off after like the 7th or 8th pick, in my opinion. Like they're still good players, but like I just feel like the draft falls off a little.
Top 10 is loaded this year. After that, it's very questionable though.
Yeah, so I don't really know if I buy into. And again, Miller has term too. That's the other thing. Like Miller has term with the Rangers. He would be there for a long period of time.
They just signed Miller too. Like he'd be there for I think 6 years, 5 years,
5 or 6 years. I think it's 5. But yeah, I don't know. That was something else that I saw. I think while we're talking about the Rangers and how Miller could be a possible place there, let's talk about what is going on in the Eastern Conference wildcard race, because LeBlanc, it's a mesh pool right now. It's a mosh pit. It is actually insane how close all of these teams are to each other. So you have the teams, in my opinion, and we'll kind of just go through most of them. Like we'll skim through these teams real quick. These are the teams that are like they are above everyone else. They are in a great spot. That being the Capitals, the Devils, the Hurricanes, the Maple Leafs, and the Panthers are the teams, in my opinion, that are they are the ones that are safe. They are the ones that are in a good spot right now. So again, like I don't really know if you have any thoughts on those, but those are three teams that or five teams that I think are safe.
Yeah, I'd say Florida. If Florida, they're 5 points above Tampa, so I feel like they're probably safe. Yeah, I would say they're probably the only one I'd be a little wary on, but yeah, they're pretty safe.
So then you get into the ones that are currently in playoff spots right now. And again, this will change because games are being played while we're recording this. Tampa Bay Lightning are third in the Atlantic. Then you have the Ottawa Senators and the Boston Bruins, both in wild card spots right now. So we'll go through those teams first. Tampa Bay, they are like ridiculously, like they have a game in hand in front of every single team, not just in their division and the conference, but in the entire National Hockey League. Besides the LA
They've
Kings,
got they've got 2 games in hand on everybody in the Eastern Conference.
yeah, it is actually. So again, like yes, they are they are technically are in the wild card race, but I'll also say that they have a lot of games in hand, so I wouldn't particularly count them out just
Yeah,
yet.
they have 2 games on Ottawa and they have 4 games on Boston.
Yeah, that's actually,
I do want to say, as we're recording this right now, Tampa Bay is currently losing 3-1 to Toronto at the end of the second. So by the end of
yes.
tonight, that could be only 1 game on Ottawa and only 3 games on Boston.
Yeah, so again, it changes every day. Again, tomorrow, like we could like the standings have been changing every single day, and it's also January too. That's the craziest part.
Yeah,
Like
no,
we have
I keep
there's
reminding people, it's like, the playoffs are not for another 3 months. Like,
we're gonna be having this conversation for the next 3 months, like
yeah.
every single week for the next 3 months about how this is just such a mosh pit
I
right now.
still feel like what, like it's good. I don't think it'll be this close and up until April. I think one team's gonna like bolt run away with it. That the real thing is that free spot in the Atlantic is up for grabs.
It is between I would say probably Tampa Bay, Ottawa, and Boston. You can maybe throw
You
Montreal
can
in
maybe
there.
throw Montreal in there, but I'll be honest, Montreal's on a hot streak right now. I don't feel like it's gonna last the entire year though.
We'll see. We'll see where it goes. I think they're really playing good. Going to Ottawa, they've been rolling recently. They had a little bit of a rough patch, but Levi Merrillainen has really looked like an incredible acquisition there. As a young rookie, like he almost has like 3 shutouts in like 5 games, right?
He should have had free shutouts. That Washington game was just, oh my, that's a topic for another day though. That was yeah,
You're playing a good team though, so at least
yeah,
stick them over.
yeah.
Get the point.
Levy's been great for Ottawa. He's been exactly what they needed when Allmark went out. And like, if it wasn't for Forsberg getting injured, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And now
So,
Ottawa has 3 goalies on the roster because Allmark's on this trip. And I'll be honest, I expect him to play in Boston on Thursday.
ooh,
So
okay.
now, do you send down Forsberg? Who, I'll be honest, if Forsberg gets sent down, he's probably getting claimed.
Yeah. So again, like the
Unless he
thing.
goes for a conditioning stint, then you can't claim him.
Yeah, that might be the only way it happens.
But
Yeah.
Ottawa's been
Sorry.
cooking defensively. They've been one of the better defensive teams in the league the past couple weeks. Offensively though, they're not getting scoring from their big guys. They're getting scoring from their depth forwards.
That's
Brady's
not particularly a bad
Yeah,
thing.
Brady's been out of point for 6 games. Stutz was picking it up again. Patterson hasn't looked great. Norris has looked fantastic. It really is because Ottawa's power play has also been a big issue, but they're getting stops. They're getting the low scoring games that they need to win, and it's working for them.
Exactly. So I think that I'm not counting Ottawa out just yet. They might very well get in, but it's ironic that this is finally the year where they look like the Senators that we have been saying they can be, and it's like literally just like they have like 20 other teams behind them competing with them. In the second wild card spot is the Boston Bruins. I'm going to be honest. I've said it in videos. I am not that high on the Bruins at all. When you look in terms of points percentage in the Atlantic Division, they are sixth. In the conference, they're like I think bottom 6th or 7th. So again, I just am not really buying in on the Bruins this year. It just doesn't look like their year, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, Boston it's too inconsistent. Like you look at Boston's last 10 games, 3-5-2.
Yeah, not good enough.
That's
Could be better.
it's not good enough, and I feel feel like my Boston fans have said this. I'll be honest, missing the playoffs might be just what they need.
I agree.
You clean house.
I agree.
Because if they
The
miss,
joke, yeah,
if they miss playoffs, it's. But here's the thing: you can't rebuild, you can't retool because you just signed Lindholm and Zadorov. So
yeah,
Boston's in a weird spot. I agree with you. I am not high on the Bruins down the stretch, but we'll see. They're a veteran team that's been there, so maybe they can crawl out of this. I'd say they're in better shape than a couple other teams on this on the list we got though.
yeah. For sure. But again, like you look at a lot of these teams, like in their last 10 games, like in this wild card race, like Tampa 5-4-1 might be 5-5-0 or something like that next after the game. Ottawa 5-3-2. Columbus 7-2-1. Montreal 7-2-1. The Rangers 6-1-3. Flyers 5-3-2, and then the Red Wings are 7-3-0. So again, like it just seems like out of that entire wild card race, the Bruins are the one that is still struggling. Yet the Sacco boost really helped them, and that's why they're actually in a wild card spot right now.
Yeah, but the boost has seemed to worn off.
100%, 100%. The problems that were there with Montgomery have shown up again under Sacco, so I agree with that. The next two teams I wanna give a lot of credit to: the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Montreal Canadiens. Look, it is January. It is January 20th when we're recording this episode. But man, those two teams look freaking fun to watch right now, especially the Blue Jackets. Like Montreal looks actually like awesome right now. Like Lane Hudson's playing awesome. But Columbus for me is just like a story that I don't think anybody saw coming, and it's like a story that I think everybody in the NHL is rooting for.
It's Disney. Get on the phone. Like Disney. Like
Yeah.
it's such as a story. It's like a storybook story. Like after all they've been through, I'll be honest. I would, if Ottawa misses, I hope Columbus makes it.
Yeah, I agree with that too. If Philadelphia falls out, I hope that Columbus will get in. Honestly, those guys are rolling. Marchenko, Voronkov, they look like phenoms right now.
Marchenko's killing it for my fantasy team.
Yeah, he's killing it in for this Blue Jackets team. I think they're on like an 8 or 9 game point streak, which is crazy to think. So yeah, they have been awesome. Montreal again, like I feel like I talked about Montreal a lot in videos recently. They have been a lot of fun to watch. Again, for me though, like I can say the same thing about Columbus. I just don't know if like it's gonna last. But again, like I love how they're playing. Like the boys are rolling. Line is scoring. Hudson like is making incredible plays in the blue line, picking up assists. Cole Caulfield lasering in goals. He might even score 45 goals this year. Like he might reach that mark. But Jake Evans as well has looked really good. There are some negatives though, like Slavkovsky's not looked as good as I would like him to be.
Suzuki's defensive game has kind of taken a step back this year.
A little bit, I guess. Again, I think that there are some negatives, but again, this is a rebuilding team. I think that those things will be worked out. But I have loved how Montreal's looked this year. Let's move on to. I guess we'll go down the list. The Rangers and the Flyers are both tied with 48 points. The Rangers actually have won a lot of games in their recent 6-1-3 in their last 10, as we mentioned. The Flyers have been winning games. Again, those two teams. I think the Rangers probably have the best chance to make it out of any of these teams, to be honest with you, just because of
their pedigree,
their experience as well. Yeah. So, again, I think that the Rangers probably have the best chance. The Red Wings are down there too, 46 points, tied with the Penguins, and then the Islanders, 43 points, and then the Sabres, they're out of the race.
Did you forget Philly?
I talked about Philly. I put Philly in there. So, if right now you had to pick your 2 wild card teams to make it, who are you picking?
I'm going to say Ottawa and Columbus.
Not biased. Not kidding.
But I would say either. I think I don't want to say Ottawa's a lock because there are no locks in the NHL. Except,
no, there's no lock there.
Unless you're first in your division, then there probably is a lock. But yeah. I would say if we want to do non-Ottawa, then I would say Columbus, and I'm going to say the Rangers.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think I said Sens and Rangers was my pick today. I saw a lot of people come at me and say, "Oh, pick the Habs."
No,
Again.
everyone wants to pick the Habs. Everyone thinks Jakob Dobes is this like goat.
I mean, he has been good.
He's
Like,
been
I'm not gonna
good,
say
but
he's not.
I always say it's like fans, as fans and biased fans, will react to a good performance though. But like I saw Jakob Dobes getting compared to Patrick Waugh. Like, we need to like just pump the brakes a little bit.
I feel like that's just Canadians fans
Yeah.
being Canadians fans. He's looked really good though. I think that again, I'm not 100% sure. Like again, it reminds me a lot of Devin Levi, and this same thing can be said about Merrill. Like people were like saying he was going to win the Calder and the Vezina after like 7 freaking games played,
Yeah.
and it completely went off the rails after that. So I'm not jumping to conclusions about a goalie who has not played enough, but Dobes has looked great for Montreal, though. I'm going to say that. All right, well, we're on the topic of teams trending up and trending down. Let's go look at the Western Conference and some teams that are trending up there. The Vegas Golden Knights have kind of fallen off the rails a little bit here. 4-5-1 in their last 10. They've lost three in a row. Do you
They
think this
lost.
is just,
They lost tonight too.
yeah? Do you think, or it's 4 in a row then? Do you think it's just a rough patch?
Every team puts up a couple stinkers. I think it's just a little rough patch. I still believe Vegas is going to be first in that division.
All right, yeah. As well as that, too, the Oilers are trending up. They are 8-2-0 in their last 10. They have been rolling. They're coming off of a week of 2 multi-goal comeback games, which is pretty unreal. The Oilers look good. They might be my team out of the West.
Yeah, especially if they play LA first round again. But I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I actually kind of hope that they finish first in the division, just so we don't have to sure about that.
I got a bet with Dylan. Dylan's like, if we play the Oilers again, I'm gonna smash a wooden bat against your door. I'm like, bet, bet.
As well as that too, trending down. Utah, they're 3-6-1 in their last 10. I feel like they're kind of where we think they're going to be. The Kraken have really trended down too, even though they won 2 games. I feel like there needs to be a real shakeup there in Seattle. There are a lot of the signings they have gotten have not worked out.
Chandler
Even
Stevenson. Ugh. Yeah,
horrible. You need a goal scoring, and you pick up a guy who's an assist merchant.
yeah.
Wasn't gonna work. Wasn't gonna work. So I think there needs to be something more there, like maybe a Ron Francis goes. I wouldn't see it mid-season, but again, I think that could happen.
You can't fire Balisma. Like, you gotta look
Now
from the top.
you got to look above. You gave him an opportunity. This team has been flopping. I feel like maybe you bring someone else in to try and figure things out there in Seattle. But again, they took a more different perspective than Vegas did when they did their expansion draft, which is why I feel like that run they had in 22-23 was kind of like a fluke, in my opinion.
I hate to say it, but yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it for teams trending up and trending down. Nashville's won 3 in a row, but they are just so far back in the race that they just can't make it.
They are 12 points out of a playoff spot.
They got to win. They got to go on that 17-game point
Yeah,
streak again.
like I feel like that's how they got in last year. And if they can do that again, wouldn't be such a story if Nashville just came all the way back from the trenches.
That'd be such a St. Louis Blues, and I feel like that could happen too. Like that's the crazy part. Like that is not out of the question, 100%. So,
But
yeah,
it has to be done within the next like 4 weeks, though. Like it has to be done now because in like 3 weeks' time, we're going to be getting trades coming out.
yeah, you got to start winning. You got to start winning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and they have been, but they really got to start winning for sure. Okay, let's move on from that. I want to talk about the trade deadline a little bit, or LeBlanc did. I have a couple candidates pulled up here, LeBlanc, of guys that could be traded. This is the Chris Johnston's Athletic Top 30 NHL Trade Board. We're gonna go through maybe not all 30 of them, but we'll skip down the list, go through a couple of the names that are on here, and we'll talk about them for a little bit, whether or not you think they're gonna get moved and things like that. Let's start off with JT Miller. Do we think Miller gets moved?
Well, considering there's been talk around him getting moved, like literally yesterday, yeah, I think he's going to get moved.
A week ago, I would have been like, no, that happens in the off season. but now that I'm seeing it,
I'm with you on that one. Like I said, like, oh, off-season talk, oh, we got movement, I guess.
yeah. Ivan Provorov.
Here's the thing about Ivan Provorov. If the Jackets, if the Jackets are in a wild card spot, why would they trade Provorov?
That's the other thing. Yeah, again, like they would have to fall off the next month or two if they were going to move Provorov. If they were to trade him, though, I feel like you could get a first round
You
pick.
probably could, yeah. I'm pretty sure he has term too, doesn't he?
He does.
Oh,
I'm
wait.
not 100% sure.
I think I have him on my board here. Let me just so I can find him.
Oh, you made a board. Look at
I
that.
did make. Yeah, I'm responsible.
Provorov's on the last year.
He's a UFA, yeah.
So yeah, that probably explains why he's probably most likely on the move. Rasmus Ristolainen.
I mean, I could if Philly falls out, yeah, I could see, but he has term, doesn't he?
He does. It's kind of crazy that he actually has a lot of interest around the league. Like he might garner a first round pick. Like that's the craziest part.
That's crazy considering like 2 years ago, I remember hearing you just complain of how.
God. Oh my god, and that was such a horrible time because I don't know. Again, like they offered him more money and he said no. Like I don't know what's worse, the fact that you offered him more money or the fact that he said no. Like I don't. Again, like I've been saying that for years. Chris Kreider. Why not?
I feel like that's an off-season move.
Yeah, that would be an off-season move unless they fall off the race.
There's someone on I have someone on number one on my board that you haven't said yet. I'll see if you say it though.
Yanni Gourde.
Yanni Gourde's gone. I feel like he can garner probably a second round pick.
Has he really even worked out with the Kraken?
Yanni Gourde, we're looking at 16 points on the year.
Oh my God! Yeah, since he's come to Seattle, he has not been.
35 games, 6 points, 6 goals, 16 points.
Yeah, his numbers have decreased over these past couple of years. Who's the guy you have on your board that you want to?
Number one, I got Brock Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson for me would be interesting. That would be if Lou really is like, yeah, we got to nuke this.
I do want to say the Islanders are currently second last in the Eastern Conference.
They are. So again, Lou still thinks this team's a contender. Marcus Pettersson, I think he probably gets traded.
Yeah, if they're doing a fire sale in Pittsburgh, he'll probably be one of the first dominoes to fall.
Yeah, if they're really serious about that. David Savard.
Once again, it's the thing. Honestly, you're Montreal, you probably could trade him and still be in the race.
Yeah, he's like what is he, like a third pairing guy?
He's a third pairing.
He's more or less that.
10 points in 35 games. UFA, he only makes 3.5. So you could potentially retain on him and get a higher return. Gibson, I feel like off-season move.
Yeah. Trent Frederick.
Frederick's an interesting case because I'm pretty sure it's a UFA after the year. So I say Boston does fall out. A lot of teams would kill for Trent Frederick.
I think the only way that a thing like that will happen is if the Bruins make a bigger deal for somebody. Like, for example, not saying this would happen, but JT Miller. Like, that's an example. Like, if they were to go out and get someone else, I feel like Frederick would go back the other way, possibly. Matthew Olivier, Columbus.
Once again, if Columbus, they could probably trade Olivier. Is he the defenseman?
He's a
right
forward.
Winger, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anybody else you want to talk about before I move on?
I'm gonna search on my board, see if you forgot anybody. Ooh,
I got a bunch more names.
Scott Lawton.
Yeah, Lawton. I don't think it happens unless if Philadelphia gets a first round pick. I don't think it happens.
Taylor Hall.
I think it happens too. You could get a third round pick for him, but nothing more than that, in my opinion. Like you just can't at this point.
Ryan O'Reilly.
Have you heard that like they're treating O'Reilly like he has a no movement clause?
They're treating him like it?
Yeah, he doesn't have one. And they said that O'Reilly apparently like they're not going to trade him unless if it's a fit for him.
I mean, from an organizational standpoint, players see that and they like it because, yeah,
Players see it and they like it, but the organization doesn't really make sense. So
yeah. All right. Kyle Palmieri.
Palmieri, it wouldn't be you wouldn't get a lot in return, but I could see them moving on from him. That's only if they trade Brock Nelson too.
All right.
It's just
I got a few Buffalo Sabres for you.
oh brother,
Dylan Cousins
no,
and
they'd be idiots to move on from him.
Bowen Byram.
Byram, I could see. That would be if I. He's tough though. It'd have to be a hockey trade. You would have to get a player back in return. I don't think Buffalo can take picks again. I don't think you can.
No.
Maybe get Middlestat back. Who the hell knows?
I got a few more here, and then we'll call it even. Granlund.
Granlund, maybe. We talked about him earlier on the show. I could see that happening, but at the same time, it would be a matter of, like, does he have term, or is this his last year?
Granlund?
I can tell you in a second.
UFA.
Okay, then maybe. You would have to retain on him, though, for sure. Only $5 million? I don't know. But he could be a decent return guy.
Jake Evans.
They might even keep him around, honestly. We'll have to see, though. They might keep him around.
And
you'll have to gauge the market for how much he really has to offer.
Nick Bukestad.
Yeah, Bukestad was the other one I saw. You could get a good fourth line center for him. You won't get a lot, but I could see him getting traded for sure.
And finally, I got two, but I'm going to go one. Let's deal with Nils Hoglander.
Yeah, Hoglander was the other one that I have on my list here, too. Possibly.
He has 3 years left at 1.1 mil.
I don't really know how much you could get back for him, though, at this point. Like, has he really even panned out with
He's got 8 points.
Yeah, so he has not been, like, again, like, since he's come over to the NHL, he has not been the greatest. Last year, he was all right. He put up 24 goals, 36 points, but...
He needs to change his scenery, it seems.
Yeah.
All right.
Who else do I have on my list before we move on?
I have Mario Ferraro from San Jose.
Yeah. Ferraro was another one. Mike Matheson.
That's a guy who... is he a UFA after this offseason?
I'm pretty sure. He's another instance of... if they're out of it.
If you trade Matheson, you're putting all your faith in Lane Hudson.
I feel like they've already
done that, yeah.
In my opinion. Cody Ceci was the other guy that I had, and then we can wrap up.
I could see a contender maybe giving like a 4th or 5th round pick for him.
I could see the Oilers reacquiring him.
It'd be funny.
Just but again, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, those are our trade candidates. Shall we move on to the tier list?
Yes, we shall.
So it is time for us to do our January 2025 tier list. And yeah, we have our regular topics here. We have cup contenders, playoff locks, playoffs likely, wild card race, playoffs unlikely, and James Hagen's seasons. Let's go through all the teams here, starting off with Anaheim. Where do we have Anaheim?
Listen, Anaheim's actually done better recently, so I'm going to put them in playoffs unlikely, even though they're on a 3-game losing streak.
Really? Okay, we'll put them in playoffs unlikely.
Hold up, let me just double check this real quick. Nah, put them in James Hagen's team. They're bottom 5 in the league.
Yeah, they got to be in James Hagen's. I was about to say that to you. They got to be in Hagen's season for sure. Yeah, no debate there. The Dostal effect, I feel like, has really worn off a little bit. But let's move on to the Boston Bruins. Bruins probably should be in wild card race. What do you think?
Yeah, wild card race. I don't think we're to the point where, like, I want to say the Bruins have played the most games in the NHL.
They're not likely in my eyes to make the playoffs.
They're not likely in my eyes, but we're just going to keep them in wild card race.
Yeah. Buffalo. I think we know.
Buffalo, it's James Hagen's season.
Oh yeah, James Hagen's season. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Buffalo, disappointing year. Calgary Flames.
Flames are in the wild card race.
Yeah, I think they have to be. If they're right in that area with Boston and Calgary, they have to be in that spot. Carolina.
I'd say they're playoff locks.
Yeah, I would say too. They have been a little bit slow at
They've been a
points.
little shaky recently. I don't think they're like a cup contender this year,
I don't think so either. I
but
feel like
I don't
we,
think they're bad though.
we said they would take a step back, and I feel like that's what's happened. So
Yeah.
again, Chicago Blackhawks, James Hagan season. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Hagan season. They're dead last in the NHL. There's a lot of problems there still with that team. Colorado Avalanche.
The Avs, they're in the wild card race right now. So it's honestly surprising me to say that right now because they got 57 points.
No, they're not in the wild card race.
Yeah,
They're not in the
they're.
wild card race.
You
They
don't
are
think so?
no, they are in a wild card spot, but look at how far ahead they are from everybody else in that race. They're 6
It's
points
true.
ahead.
All right, we'll put them in playoffs likely.
Yeah, that's again like they are in a wild card spot, but
They've also played like 3 more games than Calgary,
that
three
is
more
true.
games than Vancouver.
That is true. But I think the Avalanche are like
We'll find. They'll make. I think they're likely playoffs.
yeah. I wouldn't put them in that column with like Calgary and Vancouver who are
Yeah,
bad.
I think they're a step above.
Yeah. Columbus. Columbus is probably in wild card race. At least
Yeah,
that's
I'd say they're wild card race
yeah.
for sure. Stepped it up. They're playing great as of late. So like they're 7. What we were said earlier, they're 7-2-1 in their last 10.
Yeah, they have been again phenomenal as we've mentioned. Dallas Stars.
Playoffs likely.
Likely? Really?
You look at where they are in the division. I mean,
They
I
are
think they're
okay. They are
they're
only 3 points back of Colorado.
2 points.
They have oh yeah, 2 points. I can't do math. But
Yeah,
they
I know. If you want to move out to locks, I don't hate that either though.
mm, I think they're a lock.
Okay.
Again, like I think even though they aren't that far back of Colorado, like I still think like those 4 teams, like they're likely to make it, and I think Dallas is a lock. Detroit is that's
I
hard.
honestly feel like Detroit's playoffs unlikely.
I kind of lean towards that too. Like I feel like, especially with what we've and knowing my luck, they're gonna lose to the Flyers while I'm there tomorrow. But I feel like the McClellan effect has really worn off with these losses to Dallas and Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll agree with that. Oilers, for me, I think they go top 2 tier.
I think they're cup contenders.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I wanted to see where you were.
Even though I still think Stuart Skinner is probably one of the worst starters in the league, they are cup contenders. They are.
Yeah, they really need to
Got to go on. I'll be honest. John Gibson to Oilers makes sense.
yeah, but we've heard that rumor for how long?
I know it's been years. It's been years.
Yeah, almost half a decade. It feels like. Florida Panthers. I feel like we got to put the Panthers up here as well.
I feel like they're. You think they're cup contenders? You think they're locks?
I think they're
We'll go cup. They're a defending chance. We'll give them their flowers.
Up last year, we can't do that. L.A. Kings.
Playoff locks.
Yeah, I agree. Wow, we're moving through this really fast.
Been playing some good hockey lately, so
yeah. I do want to say, prayers up to everybody who's dealing with the fires right now in LA.
Yes,
that are going on.
Yeah.
There is a thing that's going on with the Kings. They are planning on making a relief game, raising money for the people there that are dealing with the fire. So pretty awesome movement there by the Kings. But yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, just to all of our California listeners who have been affected by these fires, we offer our sympathies, and hopefully they get resolved soon.
Yep. Minnesota Wild.
While they're locks, I wouldn't call them cup contenders.
They teetered off a little bit.
They did.
They really kind of stopped from that hot start. I think a lot of it is though because they've got a lot of injuries. Kaprizov's hurt. I'm pretty sure Hartman's out of the lineup. Zuccarello's out. They have some injuries for
They're hit by
sure.
injuries. I still like a could be cup contenders, but for now we're gonna put them in locks.
Yeah. Montreal, I think you got to put wild card race.
You got them in the wild card race. It's weird putting them there since we had them in James Hagen's season like a month ago.
People are gonna hate to see that, but yeah, they
Yeah,
are. They're in the wild card race, in my opinion. Nashville.
I think Nashville is playoffs unlikely because I don't think they're bottom five anymore. Oh, they are. They're
No,
still.
they're below Anaheim.
So would you put them? Where would you put them?
I don't know. Like I think I don't want to put them in James Hagen's, but again, if we're gonna put them in unlikely, we probably should put Anaheim in unlikely too, because they're below
All right.
Anaheim.
Well, let's put Nashville and James Hagen's season. They're the fourth team in the league. So I feel like the five teams that are bottom five should go in that category.
Yeah, I agree with that. Again, like though, I think that they out of those 5 teams we're gonna put in Hagen's, I think it's still possible that
They're probably the one that can get out of this hole.
yeah, for sure. New Jersey Devils.
Um, Cup contenders.
Really? Okay.
I don't. I'm fighting with it because like they've kind of they've kind of teetered off too.
They're in a slump. But I will say this. Last February, not this past February, the February when they were really good, or the January where they were really good, that's when they had a slump as well.
Yeah.
I remember making that video for some reason.
I still feel like New Jersey has the personnel and they have the roster to be a cup contender.
They have it. They have it for sure. Just because they're slumped right now, I don't think that defines them.
Mm-hmm.
The Islanders.
Unlikely.
That's unlikely, for sure.
Unlikely,
They are
yeah.
just. They might even be James Hagen's season. They're only a point back of a point ahead of Anaheim. So again, things have gotten bad there in Long Island for sure. And then they're going to go on a heater in February. Watch, it always happens.
Every time we be dissing teams on the podcast, they have to go on random like 8-game heaters.
Yep, we're going to talk about the Islanders next week. They would have won like 6 or 7 in a row. The Rangers. Rangers are in wild card race.
I think they're in the wild card race. Yeah, I would say.
Same thing with the Sens.
I would argue playoffs likely, but we'll go wild card race. I don't want to jinx myself.
I think you need to. I think we need to realize that all of these other teams
Are in the wild card race. Yeah.
Philadelphia, same thing.
Same thing.
Wild card race. Pittsburgh, though, I'm going to go playoffs unlikely.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Again, we talked about them a lot on this pod. I think that they're not good. They're not good. San Jose, it's the Hagens.
It's James Hagen's season.
It's the Hagens. It's all about the Hagens. Yeah, so San Jose, they look the fun of them last month and the month before is still there, but it's kind of fallen off. Like they're still not a good team.
Yeah. Seattle is unlikely.
I agree. I just don't think that they are. Again, we already talked about them a little bit earlier, but I don't think they are really contenders. St. Louis,
wild card race.
Yeah, they got to be in the wild card race. I look at them. They're only a point back of Calgary. I didn't realize they were that close. Wow.
Yeah, they beat Vegas tonight. So
Tampa Bay.
I feel
Tampa Bay in wild card.
I'm going to put them in the playoffs late because they're in that free spot right now. So
yeah, I think we got it. I agree with that for sure. And they also have games in hand as well, even if they are losing them. They still have games in hand. Toronto.
It's either cup contenders or playoff lock.
It's lock. I have said in podcasts that I think that they are playing way better under Berube. Berube has been a great ad. They have looked awesome under him. They still have a lot of the same problems. They still do.
Yeah.
They lack inconsistency. They, quote, bumble F the puck, is what Steve Dangle said. So they are still trying to find things out there. I don't think they are there yet necessarily to be a cup contender, in my opinion. They got to get over the hump still.
Mm-hmm.
Utah.
Would you say they're in the race, or you say unlikely? Unlikely. Okay.
They are tied with Seattle. They got to be unlikely.
But they got. Actually, they're on the same page as Vancouver and Calgary. So yeah, that's fair.
I hate to say it.
Speaking of Vancouver, I'd say Vancouver is in the wild card race.
Yeah, yeah. We can mesh these teams around a little bit after, but I would agree with that. I don't think that. But yeah, they're literally a point back of Calgary, so they have to be. Vegas. They
I'm
just
good.
2 years ago. I got to put them.
You think I'd still put them in locks due to their slump, but we can go playoff cup contenders.
Well, the Devils are also in a slump, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, okay, let's put them in cup contenders then.
Washington.
I still think they're only a lock. I don't think I'm not sold on the Capitals, especially after seeing them play.
I need to see playoff success.
Yeah, like I'll be honest, I don't trust this team. I really don't. I've said this back and forth. Like I don't think the Capitals are as good as they seem.
All these teams up here, they have playoff experience. Oilers went to the Cup final. Panthers went to the Cup final twice.
Jerseys,
Cup final.
Jersey been to the second round.
Won, but they've been to the second round. We know what they can do. Washington, with me, this team is on an incredible run. They're shooting at a high shooting percentage. Again, I'm not saying that is the reason why they've been so good. I just don't know if I'm willing to put them in cup contenders just yet. Like, again, Minnesota last year is like down here.
Yeah.
But now they're up here. Washington was down here. Now they're up here. So again, I don't really know. I don't buy into them being cup.
People are gonna hate that. They're gonna hate that, but
I know. I get that as well, which is why I want to put Winnipeg in playoff lock too.
That's fair. Yep. I was just saying, like, Winnipeg is on a great run, but here's the thing: there's no playoff success. There's been no playoff success outside of when they went to the third round, and that was with a different core.
Look at all of these teams that are in locks right now. You look at Carolina, you look at Dallas. Those are the only two teams for me that you could be like, okay, they are the only ones that have like sustained playoff success. The others, first round exit. Did not make the playoffs. First round exit.
Like multiple first round exits. We're talking like multiple first round exits.
Yeah, again, I think that I see the argument of some people saying they are contenders, but I haven't seen what I've wanted to see from them yet, where I can be like, yeah, they're real cup contenders, because a lot of these teams have flumped in the playoffs. So people won't like that, but that's what I think. So
yeah, and that's so going over it again in cup contenders. We got the Oilers, we got the Panthers, we got the Devils, and the Knights. On the playoff lock, Leafs, Hurricanes, Stars, Kings, Wild, Capitals, Jets. In playoffs, likely, we only have two teams. We have the Avs and we have the Bolts. In the wildcard race, holy jumping Jesus, we got Boston, Calgary, Columbus, Montreal, Rangers, Ottawa, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Vancouver.
Yeah, Moshpit.
Playoffs unlikely. Detroit, Islanders, Pittsburgh, Utah, Seattle. And everyone's favorite category, James Hagen season. We got Nashville, Anaheim, Buffalo, San Jose, and Chicago.
So LeBlanc, before we wrap up here on this episode, what are you doing this week? Any good plans or hockey related?
I'm going to see Toronto, Ottawa on Saturday, and then Ottawa, Utah on Sunday.
Oh boy, this guy's got a weekend of Senators games there. 2 must-win games for the Senators. Tomorrow, I will be going to the Flyers versus Red Wings game. It'll be today when you guys listen to this. I got some AHL games planned as well, more ECHL games and stuff. I do want to say as well, this is our first episode on the new Nordcast YouTube channel. So for those who are new listeners that are Nord Block fans, welcome. Again, all of our episodes, all of our content will be posted on here, so stay tuned for all of that. But that'll do it for this episode of the Northern Block Podcast. LeBlanc, any final thoughts?
Please start losing games, Eastern Conference. I need more clarity for my Seds.
My final thought is, hopefully LeBlanc is healthy for the rest of the season, and we don't have a month hiatus from the podcast again.
No more LeBlanc on IR. No more LeBlanc.
And that is it for the Northern Block Podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching or listening. Our next episode will either be Monday or Tuesday next week, so stay tuned. Ciao.
Bada boom.
This guy, no ciao. Wow.
I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Man, I just do what I do. To know about you, I just do what I do. Check. That's the intro. See that? Yeah. I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Yo, check. Let me flip this script. I feel privileged for all who can witness this. I am close to divine. Know the moment is mine, need an omen or sign. Providing a back sound to all the squares that ask around. Be getting it. My skills pay me. Trying to get a million, baby, with an adopted flow that God gave me. Tell whoever runners that they spot is temporary till I take it, it's mine. I'm selfish. Your will. Tell Miss I'm on my wealth tip. So when we cash out soon, I'm just investing. No yes men. I've been a legend since before mom and dad had me and was best friends. I chew through comp, don't test them. I chew on tracks cause after that I bless them. I just do what I do. You see me? I just do what I do. I just do what I do.